How are you guys doing today? In this video, I wanted to bring you guys something very special. And this is something that people have asked for me in the past in the form of the quick edit rack, which was something that I was using in Ableton Live 9. I never got to making a video for it because I never thought it was that special. In this video here, I'm bringing you not one, but 6 different quick racks. That's what I call them because they're supposed to be quick ways to edit a sound that I made for myself originally, and I just came across them again and I was like, damn. First of all, I got to make one more, which is the quick smash, which I just made today. But also I just wanted to give you guys this, and for free as well. It's a Dropbox link in the description if you want to download it, and join my Discord as well, because I shared this on my Discord channel, which is where I like to share free stuff. And as well, there's a place for you guys to give feedback and share your music and just chat and just interact with me and other producers. Might as well join if you want to. Let's just go ahead and get into what each of these does. I have a lead track, which is a mono sound, and I have a chords track, which is a polyphonic sound, which means you could play more than one note. So the lead sounds like this. And the chords sound like this. Let's go ahead and get into what each of these does. So for the first one, it's called Quick Phat. This is a distortion rack, and I wanted it something that I could use to quickly add fatness to my sounds. I'm sure you guys have heard of plugins like Camel Phat and different things like sausage fattener, stuff like that. But I just wanted to make an Ableton version. I'm not gonna go over the technical details of how it works, but if you open up the chain, you can take a look, and it's all Ableton controls, all Ableton devices. And there's an amp, a saturator, overdrive, and then there's super compression. And each of these adds distortion and little artifacts in different ways. Now, something to note is that you can change the amp type, because if I pull up this chain, you have the amp, you're controlling the amp amount, but also the type of amp. So you can scroll through them. And just the benefit of these racks is that they're set up in a way that you can mess around with the controls and hear what you like best rather than look at it. And each of these controls does a significant amount of changes to a sound. We can fatten up the sound now in one control. Saturator. There's a low pass filter, so I can cut out the high end. I'm not gonna play with that too much. Overdrive, and then the squash. When you put 2 compressors back to back, or multiple compressors and super compress things, then they start clipping. So what I did is I set it up so it'll clip, but then I brought down the volume again, so it's not actually clipping, but it keeps those clipping artifacts. It's crazy. This last control I really want to share with you guys because it's pretty cool. It's called effect below 40 hertz. And the reason I added this is because sometimes you are saturating a sound or you're distorting a sound, but you don't want it to affect the sub bass of the sound. So if you don't want it to affect your sub bass, then turn it down to 0. So it'll keep that nice deep sub range without it being crushed and distorted. Quick smash. Now this is an OTT preset. I'm gonna use the chords to demonstrate this one because it sounds raw. Obviously I don't want to distort my chords. I'm not gonna use quick phat on them, but quick smash is an OTT rack, and it has a little EQ3 as well. So if we open it and we take a look at what it's doing, actually, let's not take a look. Let's just listen. I can boost the highs using the OTT. Boost the mids. Lower them. I can boost the lows. Them down a little bit. And if I double click, I go back to the default settings. And then of course there's an OTT mix amount. very important. And finally, we have controls for the EQ3, which is just, let me not be so technical. We have controls to control the high. So if you want something to be more crisp, boost it, or if you don't want it to be crisp, you can take it out all the way. Boost the mids or the lows, cut them out, and so on and so forth. What's really cool is this ratios button. For this, I'm gonna take a look at the OTT. You can either have expansion or compression. I'm not gonna explain what those mean, but if you know what it means, when you flip the OTT ratios, but if I flip them, it will actually do the opposite effects of what I have it set up to do. Let's boost it. Let's turn up the OTT amount. So it's a cool way to flip around the settings. Mess around with it and listen. I'm not gonna get too technical because it gets so crazy. This next one is called Quick Gate, and this is super self-explanatory. It's a volume LFO and a filter LFO. So let's take a look at this volume one. That's so raw. You can change the wave shape. Change the rate and so on. And I had to add the filter, you know? So if you're not wanting to mess with the volume, you can mess with the filter. Change the shape. So this gate amount will actually, it will change the shape of both the volume and the filter. Sidechain, this one actually requires you to open up the sidechain settings and just quickly go in there and set what you want to sidechain your sound to. So you can sidechain it to 2 different sounds. You can sidechain it to like a kick and a snare, or one sound and another sound, whatever you need, or you could just use one of them, and then you have the sidechain controls up here. And if you take a look at this, it'll say upgrade. Don't hit upgrade. This is the best quality compressor for sidechain, and it's on purpose. They don't add any clicks to your sound. So even if you're like, why would I use this rack? You might as well still use it because it has the Live 8 compressors, and it's just a quick setup. Quick mix. I don't even have to go over this. There's a volume control. There's a stereo control, which really is a utility effect. And it has that stereo setting. And finally, low cut, high cut, and then a compressor that you can just quickly use without even having to set it up or look at anything. That leaves us with this last one. So as you can tell, all of these are in the order that I would actually use them if I had to use all of them. But in most cases, I would just pull up 1 or 2 maybe, depending on what I actually need. But if I were to use all of them, this would be the order, and I will always put the imager last because this is a stereo control. You can control the high end of the stereo. So if I just want to make the highs stereo, I can do that. And this sound is already stereo, so it's kind of awkward. So let me just turn off the gate. I can make the mid stereo, make the low stereo. And this is important because sometimes you just want the highs and the mids to be stereo. You don't want your bass or the sub range to become wide because that throws off your mix. So that's why I added these 2 controls. But of course you could do all 3. And then below you have this mono control because sometimes you want to make things wide, sometimes you want to make them mono. So super self-explanatory. And then this space control is like a chorus and reverb effect. Kind of like a phaser. It'll phase and create different effects. I rarely use it. But finally you have just an overall dry wet control at the end. And again, what's cool about these racks is you don't even have to look. But other than that, I think that's it for this video. But make sure to leave a like if you enjoyed. Share this with other producers if you think this is raw. Join my Discord because that's where I like to share free samples free stuff, and then you could share samples, give feedback, and get feedback from your own music, and just chat with other producers and myself. And it's just a fun community to be in. I'll see you guys next time.